Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about a very critical topic that's happening in the US right now. And I'm going to talk about it in more details than I usually do because normally I talk about inflation, but this time I'm going to talk about the national debts of US, which could cause the global growth in economy. Not just the country, but it will affect the entire world. And on my first point, which is the conflicting economic messages. So a few days ago, Jerome Powell promised and ensured how the US economy is doing great. And compared to strong economic countries, they are still doing great. But yet on the other side, Janet Yellen said that there is a concern about how there is the de-dollarization. So basically, dollars is losing their value as when they're doing trades with other countries, they're starting to use other countries' currency as well, and other countries appreciate their currency lesser and lesser, which would cause a huge problem to their economy eventually, and also to the global economy as well. Not just that, we are also reminded from the International Monetary Fund that the US debt is reaching $35 trillion. And that's really bad because this is also going to affect the global economy, and also it's related to de-dollarization because now there's so much debt, nobody would actually want to rely on such a currency. Why would I want to rely on the country with the why would I want to rely on the currency where the country is already going to collapse with the amount of debts they have? It's kind of interrelated as well. And now my second point, which is the US national debt crisis. So basically, let's focus on the US debts, which is at $35 trillion. This is a horrible thing. And like I said just now, it is not as easy to solve as it seems. It is not just, pay back the money. It's not this US is not living under their parents' house. They're a country with real expenses and an entire country to advance. And if they were to inflate the economy, then that would cause inflation, clearly, if they would to keep printing money and so on. But if they were to slow down the economy so that they could pay back debts, then that would cause recession, which would be horrible on both sides. So they're not going to take that option as well. Plus the political issue which goes around where a lot of politicians would kind of want to do things for their own good would also cause some difficulties for the entire country to work together to pay off this debt itself, which could cause a global economic crisis because of how big of an economy US is to the world. And on my third point, which is experts' opinion and economic adjustments. So there are some people out there who are already looking forward to the future, saying that, well, in the future, since America is not going to be the strongest country in the world, then their economy, if the dollar weakens, then it would also help the weakened economy, right? So there are going to be countries like China that could be able to have more significant economic growth and cover up the spots that US can't cover. But you see, even though this may be true maybe in 10 years time, but this is not true in the short term because right now US still has a much larger economy than China, and with that they are not going to be able to cover everything without US in the entire global economy. So basically, what's going to happen if US just stepped out and start paying off their debts is that it's going to leave a huge hole in the global economy where a lot of people is going to lose supply and services and a lot of trades and economy, which would cause a economical crisis or collapse in some countries where they're unable to get resources or they're unable to sell things to make money. And on my fourth point, which is potential solutions and political challenges. So going back to addressing the debt crisis, there's two clear, straightforward ways that they can solve this debt crisis problem slowly. First of all is to increase tax. Second of all is to stop those various fundings. But increasing tax, right, is going to make the people in America suffer even more than they already are. People are living paycheck to paycheck, plus inflation, everything add on, etc. People are already living in such a tight economy and such a tight life. So that is not a really good option for the people. And stop various fundings will also mean they're going to cut in education, healthcare, or social security fundings, which these are typically not popular things for politicians to do, because increasing tax or stop various fundings like these would cause them to basically sacrifice their job. It is not popular among the people at all, because this would make them struggle even more. So basically, if you do this, you get fired. There's a high chance, or you just be really unpopular in the administration. So basically, even though last year the Congress has already allowed the debt ceiling to go higher, they're still eventually going to face it again in 2025. And what are they going to do then? They have a few choices. Continue to borrow, increase the debt ceiling, or they will have to face the consequence, which is defaulting. Which all of these options are not really good. But what is the most unappealing one is basically defaulting, because defaulting means that they admit to the world they can't pay it back. And that's definitely not what the US, the strongest economy and the strongest country in the world, want to do to the entire world. They don't want to declare weakness, of course, So basically, they're probably going to increase the debt ceiling again, which would increase debts, and based on estimation, that's probably going to increase 1.6 trillion to 2 trillion per year from here on out, at the very least, which is absolutely horrible for the next 10 years if they keep going down this road. And on my fifth point, which is preparing for economic downturn. So basically, with so much debts in their hands, right, US have to prioritize what's good and what's bad to spend on. Healthcare, military, these are the two things that are very important to the country, but yet they have been surpassed by simply needing to pay the interest of their debts. Yeah, basically they pay more for their debt's interest than these things by using their profit. In fact, they went to debts for doing so. And this is really bad, because now that interest rate is kind of high, to get inflation down, to combat inflation, it also means that the US government have to pay more for their interest in their debts, which is already bad enough that they have to pay so much, but yet the interest rate is so high. So yeah, so basically they're in a tough situation where increasing interest rates will slow down businesses and consumers because of how the interest they need to pay the bank when they have a loan to do any advancement or innovation. And but at the same time, if they don't do this, then inflation will spike, and then inflation. So that's bad. So with all these things coming around, we should probably expect an economic downturn. And of course, it is not good to have an economic downturn, but what I'm saying is that we should expect the worst to combat the worst case scenario. Expect the worst so you can be prepared for the worst, just in case, even if you're optimistic. So, of course, the solution is money, but that also means that we have to work harder in this situation as well. Just have to look ahead and also be able to maneuver our money carefully, save it, invest it, don't waste it. And that's probably the best thing to do starting from now on, because of the economic state of the US. It practically looks like it's probably gonna bring us to some sort of global economic crisis situation because of its debt eventually. And now the conclusion. So the conclusion is basically that the economic situation is actually kind of complicated, and then this situation where inflation, debts, and basically taxes or the global economy are all intertwined with just a smaller problem, not smaller problem, but this problem, and it shows the economic complexity. And basically, it is not just about maneuvering the money, how to pay off the debts. They also have to care about the interest, and at the same time, when they care about interest, they have to care about the people in the country, and then they have to also put in the thought process of politicians, which will also end up making them make a different decision based on a different situation, because they also want to benefit themselves. So political issues and economical issues, and then there are like civilians. What do they say, civilians? I mean, like the people in the country. They have to care about all these factors and add together, and then they have to pay off a large amount of debt. So this is a pretty bad situation for the US, but the only thing we can do is to do our best to maneuver ourselves in this economical complicated situation. So basically that is my conclusion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys come back and watch another one. I hope you guys learned something out of it. I hope you guys are happy to watch it as well. I hope you guys like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.